Hello everyone, welcome to the Wrinkled Genius podcast. Have you ever stood at a crossroads, wondering if the big decision you're about to make is the right one? Like whether to move into a nursing home because it feels like the safe choice. I know that moment all too well. A couple of years ago, I packed up my little house, said goodbye to my garden, and walked through the doors of a nursing home, thinking it'd be the answer to everything. Someone to cook, clean, keep an eye on me as I got older. I'm 82 now, and if I could turn back the clock, I'd run the other way. It's not what I thought it'd be, and I've learned some hard truths that I wish someone had told me before I signed those papers. In this video, I'm going to share 6 hard truths about why I regret moving into a nursing home. Things you need to know if you're over 60 and weighing your options. These aren't just my gripes. They're lessons from the heart, backed by what I've seen and felt, and they might just save you from making the same mistake. We're talking about losing more than you gain, feeling stuck in ways you don't expect, and a few other surprises that hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm not here to scare you. I just want you to have the full picture so you can choose what's really best for you. So, let's sit down together, like old friends, and talk about what I wish I'd known. Watch until the end, because you might be missing out on little things that could have a huge impact on your future. First off, let's start with the biggest punch in the gut. You lose your independence more than you realize. I went in thinking, oh, this'll be great. Someone else does the laundry. I won't have to fuss with the stove. But it's not that simple. Sure, they take care of the basics, but they also take over your life in ways you don't see coming. My days used to be mine. I'd decide when to eat, what to cook, when to water my roses. Now, breakfast is at 7:30 whether I'm hungry or not. And if I want a snack past 9 p.m., good luck. Kitchen's locked. It's like living by someone else's clock, and that freedom to just be you, it slips away bit by bit. I remember my first week. Wanted to make tea the way I like it, with a splash of milk and a little extra steep. Couldn't. The staff handed me a cup already made, and when I asked for my own kettle, they said it's a safety issue. Safety's important, sure, but I'm not a child. I've been boiling water for 60 years. Studies even back this up. Folks in nursing homes often feel less in control, and that loss of autonomy can drag down your spirit and even your health. If you're thinking about this move, ask yourself, how much of me am I willing to give up? There are other ways, like home help or senior apartments, where you can get support without handing over the reins. For me, losing that independence wasn't worth the trade. Then there's the second truth, and this one stung even more. The loneliness is worse than you'd expect. You'd think a nursing home would be full of company, people around all the time, activities to join. That's what they sell you on anyway. Bingo nights, group chats, a built-in community. But the reality, it's not like that for everyone. I pictured sitting around with new friends, swapping stories, laughing over coffee. Instead, I found myself surrounded by folks who keep to themselves. Some can't chat much because of health, others just aren't interested. The staff are busy, and the activities feel forced, like playing cards with strangers who don't really want to be there. I'll never forget my first month. I'd sit in the common room, hoping someone would say hello. Most days it was just me and the TV. Research says this isn't rare. Lots of nursing home residents report feeling isolated, even with people all around. Back home, I had my neighbor Pat dropping by, my daughter popping in with the grandkids. Here, visits are harder. They're on a schedule, and the vibe's not the same. If you're weighing this, think hard about your social life. Do you have folks who'll come see you, or ways to stay connected? I didn't realize how much I'd miss those little moments, and that loneliness creeps in deeper than I ever imagined. Losing independence and facing unexpected loneliness were like wake-up calls I wasn't ready for. They hit me hard and changed How I see this place. You give up more than you think, and the company you hope for might not show up. And that brings us to the third truth. How much your stuff, or lack of it, starts to weigh on you. After giving up so much independence and feeling that unexpected loneliness settle in, I started noticing something else that gnawed at me more than I'd expected. How much your stuff, or really the lack of it, starts to weigh on you. Back home, I had my little world, my armchair with the worn spot just right for my back, my bookshelf full of mysteries I'd collected over decades, even the chipped mug my grandson painted for me when he was 5. Moving into the nursing home meant leaving most of that behind, and I figured, oh, I'll adjust. It's just things. But it's not just things, it's your life, your memories, and stripping that down to a single room hit me harder than I ever thought it would. When I got here, they told me I could bring a few personal items, a picture or two, maybe a small keepsake. My daughter helped me pack, and we whittled it down to a suitcase and a box. I left behind my dining table where we'd had Christmas dinners, my garden tools I'd spent years fussing with, even most of my clothes because there's no closet space. Now, my room's got a bed that's not mine, a generic nightstand, and walls that feel like they belong to someone else. I look at the one photo I brought of my late husband and me at the beach, and it's like a tiny lifeline to who I used to be. Studies say this isn't uncommon. Folks in nursing homes often feel disconnected when they lose their belongings, and I get it now. It's not about being materialistic. It's about holding on to what makes you you. I wish I'd thought more about this before. Maybe looked into a place where I could have kept more of my world, like an assisted living spot with a bigger apartment, or stayed home with some help coming in. If you're considering this move, take a good look at what you'd have to leave behind. Can you part with the quilt your mom made, or the chair you always nap in? It's not just stuff, it's comfort, and losing it can leave you feeling smaller than you deserve. That emptiness crept up on me, and it's a tough one to shake. Then there's the fourth truth, and this one really knocked me off my feet. The cost is way more than you think, and not just in money. I went into this figuring it'd be cheaper than keeping up my house. Property taxes, repairs, utilities, all that jazz. The brochure made it sound affordable, with meals and care included. But the reality? It's a slow bleed that catches you off guard. My savings started shrinking faster than I'd planned. Extra fees for little things like laundry or a doctor's visit piled up, and suddenly I'm wondering how long I can stretch what's left. I thought I'd budgeted it out, but I didn't see the fine print coming, and it's not just the dollars, it's the emotional cost too. You're paying to feel like you're not in charge anymore, to live by rules you didn't make, to eat food you didn't pick. My friend Doris, who's 79 and still at home, gets help from a part-time aide for half what I pay here, and she's got her own kitchen, her own schedule. Studies show this isn't rare. Nursing home costs can drain savings quick, and plenty of folks find cheaper ways to get care without moving. I wish I'd dug deeper, talked to more people, crunched the numbers harder. If you're thinking about this, don't just trust the sales pitch. Add it up, look at home care or family help, see what keeps your wallet and your soul intact. For me, the price tag, money and all, turned out to be a regret I can't unspend. Losing my stuff and watching the costs stack up were like salt in the wound after everything else. They made me realize this move wasn't the cozy fix I'd hoped for. You give up your space, your things, and then pay through the nose for something that doesn't even feel like home. It's a lot to chew on, and it started wearing me down in ways I hadn't seen coming. And that brings us to the fifth truth, how your health doesn't always get better here. In fact, it might get worse. With my independence gone, the loneliness sinking in, my stuff left behind and the costs piling up, I started to feel like I'd traded one set of worries for another. That's when the fifth truth hit me hard. Your health doesn't always get better here. In fact, it might even get worse. I moved in thinking this place would be a safety net. Doctors on call, nurses around the corner, someone to catch me if I stumbled. I figured it'd keep me stronger, longer. But the reality's been a bitter pill to swallow. Instead of thriving, I've watched parts of me slip away, and I'm not the only one who's felt it. At first, it seemed like a good setup, regular checkups, meds handed out on time. But there's a flip side nobody warned me about. Sitting around more, because there's not much space to move, made my legs stiffer than they were at home. Back there, I'd potter in my garden, walk to the mailbox, stretch out in my own way. Here, it's a short shuffle to the dining room and back, and that's if I'm up for it. Studies back this up. Folks in nursing homes can lose muscle faster from less activity, and that's been me. My grip's weaker, my balance shakier, and I didn't see it coming. Then there's the food, bland, same old stuff that doesn't exactly spark joy or health. I used to cook what I loved, fresh veggies, a little spice, and now it's mushy peas and overdone chicken. Nutrition matters after 80, but I'm not getting what I need to stay sharp or strong. And don't get me started on the bugs. Colds and flus bounce around here like ping-pong balls because we're all packed in tight. My friend Ed, who stayed home with a caregiver, still walks his dog every day and eats what he wants. He's sprier at 85 than I am at 82. If you're considering this, think hard. Will this place keep you moving and eating right, or could it drag you down? For me, it's been more of a slide than a boost. And then there's the sixth truth, the one that keeps me up at night, the guilt that lingers long after you're here. I thought moving in would ease my family's worries. No. More, "Mum, are you okay alone?" calls from my daughter. No burden on my son to fix my leaky faucet. I told myself it was for them as much as me, but now I see it's left a heavy weight I didn't expect. Every time they visit, I catch that look in their eyes, part sadness, part relief, and I wonder if I've let them down by not fighting. Harder to stay put. Worse, I feel like I've let myself down, like I gave up too soon. It's not just my imagination, talking to others here, that guilt's a quiet shadow for a lot of us. You start second-guessing. Could I have managed with a little help? Did I make them feel like I'm their problem? My neighbor down the hall, Ruth, cries sometimes because her grandkids don't visit much. She thinks they see her as done now. Back home, I'd have been baking with them, not waiting for them to show up. Studies even say this emotional tug can wear on your health. Guilt and regret aren't good for the heart or soul. If I'd known, I'd have explored staying home. Longer, maybe a part-time aide, a ramp for the steps. If this is on your mind, talk to your family. Really talk. See what they want, what you want, before the guilt sneaks in. So there you have it. 6 hard truths from my nursing home regret. Losing independence, the loneliness, leaving my stuff behind, the hidden costs, health slipping instead of improving, and that lingering guilt. It's not what I pictured when I signed up. I thought it'd be a soft landing, but it's been a rough ride. You don't have to follow my path, though. Look at your options. Home care, a smaller place with more freedom, leaning on family, or friends a bit more. Ask the tough questions. Can I keep what matters? Will I feel like me? I wish I had, because these truths hit harder when you're living them. You've got time to think it through. Don't rush like I did. Maybe start by jotting down what you'd miss most, or chat with someone who's stayed home past 80. See what they've learned. My friend Doris did, and she's still in her apartment, happy as can be with a helper twice a week. I'm sharing this because I care. You deserve a choice that keeps you strong, not stuck. What's one thing you'd hate to lose if you moved? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what's on your mind. And if this rings true for you, give it a like and subscribe so we can keep figuring this out together. You're worth more than a room you don't love. Here's to finding your best way forward, wherever that is.